organizational capacity survey reporting introduced map of skills, note assets that we are most reported, that of resources most CBOs have, survey reporting and map of CBOs assets. Also facilitating section with Dr. Emem Udoh of Rapid Let's Start with that Dr. Emem.
I hope you enjoyed our topic. Right, so very briefly, I'll be taking this session, which is on the organizational capacity that we had. For all of us here, in fact, we all had members of our team visiting their various organizations to ask some questions. And then we have looked like we're asking so much questions, but we just want to let you know why we had to engage you that way and ask the questions that we had to ask. So, okay, we've already seen this slide was displaying earlier. So we're on step 3 now. This step 2 was the survey CBOs to understand their assets and resources. That was why we had to go around to engage all the CBOs. And then the third part, which is where we have the red boxes on, is to meet with identified CBOs to create an inventory or list of assets. Now, we had to go around, and this is not the number of CBOs we visited. We visited much more than this. But because of our engagement with the people that are here, the organizations that are here, these were the people that qualified, if you may say, if you may use that word, for what we want to do, based on their availability of resources and then their organizational structure. And then we surveyed the individuals from these identified CBOs to identify the capacity inventory for individuals. And so you had questions like, what is your staff strength, how many volunteers you have, what are the number of your board members, and all of that. So all of this was geared towards one goal, identifying your organizational strength. And then CBOs compose physical and or conceptual map of HIV servicing CBOs assets, noting their interconnections and relationships. So we wanted to ask if you have linkage with any primary health centers, because remember, primarily we're not in the community to treat hypertension, we are to link. So every linkage needs to have at least 2 points. So it has to be you and the link, the facility that you're going to be linked to, which will now facilitate the referrals. So that's why we had to engage most of you. So like you see here, to understand the strengths and capacity of your organization for providing care for people living with HIV. That's why we had to, go around. So I'm just going to briefly give a summary of the survey we did and how far we have come. Alright, so from our organizational survey, these were some of the findings that we had. First, we have about 20 CBOs that are here, and then we have about 10 support groups, which we identified to have to perform or to function in this capacity. And very, very positively, all the CBOs gave us a yes, as they look forward to working with us to see how we can foster this community clinical linkage. And the respondents mostly included the program managers and the executive directors. But for any CBO, these are the cases you see first before you see the other members. So they're mostly the two. And for the support groups, we had the presidents and the secretaries for most of them. Then the respondents, most of the respondents had between 3 to 24 years of experience. So most of these CBOs you see, I was even surprised that we have a CBO that has, been in existence for up to 24 years to show you that we are doing a lot of work in the community. So please, just to say we see and hear of all you do, and also to encourage you to do more. So yes, we have 3 to 24 years of experience for the most of the CBOs. And then, before I get here, the average number of staff for most of the CBOs was about 9. The average number of volunteers was about 30. So that's one of the slide. The average number of board members was 6. The average number of clients reached was about 1,076. So this only goes to prove further the fact that we actually reach out to a lot of people. If you want to depend on what we see in facilities, we may never really achieve what we want to achieve. We will never really achieve the universal health coverage, which is one of the goals of the WHO. So that's why we have you in the community to help us with this linkage. But we are glad that you can understand why you have to do this linkage in the first place. Because if you don't understand it, you may see somebody that needs that care and you don't understand, you need to persuade the person, or if possible, follow the person to a facility to be treated. Alright, so the next is the other questions you have to ask, like questions like if you have test kits, if you have blood pressure devices, if you have glucose monitoring devices. And we realize that most of us here have, about 85% of us have HIV test kits. That's because that's our primary, most of us, not all, that's our primary population. So of course, the entry point is HIV test. If you don't have the kits, that's good as you not even doing what is the professor that should do. So it was understandable why we had about 85% of our CBOs that have HIV test kits. And then, sadly or not sadly, we had 40% BP monitoring devices. It's not surprising that we didn't make it even up to 50, because BP monitoring or BP measurement is not something that, in fact, people still pay to get their BP measured. That's the crazy part. We did a survey sometime early in the year, and then we just asked randomly, just sample clients in several ages and asked, so how much do you pay to get your BP checked? Only if you said we don't pay money. Most of them said we pay 100 and we pay 200. BP, that is free of charge. So we're wondering why these are the things we need to attack, the things we need to try and curb, so that people can be more aware and they can take their health into their hands. And we don't have instances of hypomia, because most of those hypomia is actually hypertension that was uncontrolled, that led to a stroke and that led to death. But in the common paradigm, okay, hypomia. So we need to know these things so that we can know how to communicate better to our population. And then medication provision, we had 35%. I like the question she asked. She was like, people are talking about treatment, and are we the ones that are going to treat or manage? We tried to explain that it's going to actually be a linkage. We won't be the ones treating. So we had less than 50% of people who have medications, and most of these medications mostly consisted of malaria medications, STI medications. Some people act as some differentiated models of care treatment, like in between the community and the facility, where we have differentiated modes of care, where people receive their ARVs from. So some of us do that. That's why we have ARVs on that list. So it's good to know that we also can even provide medications for these people. But that's for the HIV. When it comes to hypertension, we will not advise that we keep those medications, because hypertension needs close monitoring. Hypertension needs close monitoring. We cannot just say because we're empowered and we don't know how to, we know the medication that are involved, we will not take everything into our hands. We don't want to lose patients because of somebody forming that he or she knows too much. So we still encourage the linkage. Okay, so for the next slide, the non-communicable disease, the equipment or resources that were identified in our community-based organizations. We discovered that most of us had weighing skills, which is a good thing, because that's like basic. Some have and they're not functioning, but at least most of us had. And this is also important because as part of the management of hypertension, we talk about lifestyle modification. it's not only about drugs. If you take drugs and you're not tackling some areas of your life that are predisposing you to hypertension in the first place, it will be a counterproductive event. So the tap is on in this room, and I'm trying, and this place is flooded. I'm trying to, take care of the flood, and I come in with my packer, my mop, my everything to tackle the water. With that flood thing, do you understand my point? The tap is on, and this place is flooded, and I'm trying to take care of the flood, and I come in with all my more, buckets, packer, and I'm starting to pack the car. That flood stop, it won't stop. I have to do what? Turn off the tap. That's the first thing. So that tap is our daily life, our daily activities, what we eat, our weight, and all of that. So weighing scale is an entry point because it helps us to monitor our patient. As a patient to tell that, oh, you have to lose weight. You have to lose weight. So if you cannot just say, yes, it's only when somebody has lost significant weight, if you can look at the person and say, oh, I think you lost this. But the most objective form is weighing scale or waist circumference, hip measurements, and all of that. So most of us do have weighing scales. And then for the height for adults is static. I won't go further than this. So once you measure it once, that'll be all. The glucose monitoring, this is a bit also more technical. Just like hypertension is, that's why we have just about 10% there. Because not everybody can have what to intervene if a client is identified to have a high blood sugar level. Okay, so I think that will be all from my end. It was also good to note that most of our organizations here and support groups meet once monthly. Most of us carry outreaches, some say 2 weekly, some say monthly, some say when we have funding, and all of that. So we're just trying to see how we can integrate hypertension into what you already do. We're not coming with our extra referral forms like some people were asking. No, we are saying as you're doing your usual thing, can you just tip in hypertension? So if you go for HIV outreaches, can you just also mention that hypertension is a thing? Just so that people can be more aware. And when things like this begin to happen, or they hear that somebody has hypertension, you can also encourage people to take medications because they now know about the complications. So my colleague will be taking the community assets map. Thank you very much.